Like you and I, a horse's physical condition changes day to day. The horse communicates that condition to you if you understand what he's saying. And you begin to understand with this free online webinar. Once you understand, you're going to win more and even more importantly, lose less. Join the free Racehorse Body Language webinar. Learn handicapping's missing link and win more and lose less. And you get instant access when you go to bodylanguagewebinar.com.
Dan Illman, Matt Birney are taking a look at race number 10 at Saratoga on Friday. It's the $150,000 West Point Stakes for older turf horses. You can play it with your own DRF Bets account. Sign up, grab 10 times the bonus. It's easy. DRF.com/bets where you need to go for all of the information. Here's the field for the West Point. We're going a mile and a 16th on the inner turf. And on first pass, Matt, the first thing I noticed was there is a ton of speed in this race.
Yeah, and there really is, and I think it's only going to help the sort of main horses, the main contenders in this spot, because it feels like most of them want to come from a little bit farther off the pace. But boy, you've got a combination of speed, you've got a combination of old war veterans in here, whether it be King Creaser or Carafa or other horses that we'll talk about. I think it's going to be a really interesting race, but you are going to have one horse that I think is a standout.
Your 6-5 morning line favorite, Chad Brown, Javier Castellano. That's Offering Plan, third in this race in 2016, the runner-up in this race last year, and one horse that should really benefit from a fast and contested pace. Throw in the fact that last time out, he chased next out Grade 1 winner Voodoo Song in the Forbidden Apple. He's going to be real tough to down if he gets the trip.
When you just look and see this, the form of that Forbidden Apple, you brought up Voodoo Song, projected earned a 99 in his next start. The 6th place finisher earned a 99, and I'm not totally convinced that the mile is really, or a one-turn sort of configuration anyway, is what this horse really wants. I think he's better going a little bit longer. To me, he reminds me a little bit of 4-Star Crook, who is one of the fillies and mares that Chad has, New York bred, and it felt like for the longest time they just kept her in those New York bred ranks. And then when they finally tested her, they realized, oh wow, she's actually a legitimate graded stakes caliber one. I kind of feel the same way about Offering Plan. Maybe he's not quite as talented naturally as she is, but boy, I just think I had a hard time getting around him in here.
Let's talk about one of those salty old-timers, a real fan favorite, the number 5 King Creaser, closing in on $1.5 million in lifetime earnings. Won this race in 2014, won this race in 2016, hasn't won a race since winning this race in 2016. Last time out, they dropped him in for the 80 tag. He chased Black Tide in the early portion of that race. That pace was very, very fast, and a similar situation could happen again. You have to wonder if this 9-year-old's getting just a little bit long in the tooth.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help, like you say, he hasn't really gotten favorable situations, and I don't think he's going to get one on Friday either. It is nice to see that he still has that early sort of foot. He's got that little ability to stay close. The problem is when the real running starts, kind of the tank is empty at that point, and unfortunately, I just can't imagine a different situation playing out on Friday.
Timeform US thinks it's going to be the same way. We take a look at their pace projector. They've got Black Tide, the 12. They've got King Creaser, the 5. They've got a red bar indicating a fast pace. The last time that happened, both of those horses paid the price. Black Tide was sent on a mission over yielding ground at Saratoga. No match for Ticonderoga, who's a classier horse and got a better trip. I guess if somehow Black Tide gets out there and is able to steal away and everybody else backs off, he's got a shot in here. He was good enough to beat Offering Plan with that kind of trip in the Mohawk in 2017, but he's just been a runoff in his last few.
Yeah, and you know what, really, you can go back to early 2017, and there were moments where you go through and you look at the pace call half mile in, he's 11 lengths clear of the rest of the horses. To be honest, I don't think you have any other alternative at this point. I think you just got to send him. You know what your game is. Your game is to try to bottom out the field, and if you get hooked by somebody else, it's to your undoing as well as theirs. I think you just stick with what your game plan is and go.
The horse down towards the rail, Morrison, a 3-year-old taking on older horses. This is a horse that likes to be close to the pace, but I don't think necessarily needs the lead to win. And I thought he looked pretty good last time out, going through his non-winners of 2 other than condition. I know it was a yielding turf course, but he was up close to some legitimate fractions and then kicked away. There's always been a little bit of something about this horse. He's always had some potential. Now he's got to prove it against the big boys.
Yeah, that's really the question. I agree with you. He's always shown, he's always hinted at ability that maybe he could be a legitimate sort of horse. And the question is just now, can he do it against better horses? That most recent start, the runner-up was the next out winner with an 86 buyer, so the form has come back good. And I agree with you 100%. I don't think he has to have the lead. He's at his best when he's close. I just don't think that he's going to be going that fast. I think he's going to be probably one of those ones sitting just off the pace situation, and maybe he inherits it.
The number 7, Memories of Peter, his most recent win, gate to wire back in October, going 1.25 miles. Now, I don't think he's as fast as the horse on the outside, Black Tide. I don't think he is as fast as King Creesa, but it does seem that at this point in his career, this 6-year-old does prefer to be on the lead, and I'm not sure that's a situation that's happening.
No, I agree with you, but I will say, go back to that run at Aqueduct back at the end of last year. He sat off the pace, and I do feel like he kind of likes Aqueduct's turf course, and some horses we've talked about that, a little bit of a horse for course angle, but he at least showed the ability to sit a little bit behind a pace and then come and make a move. At the end of the day, I'm not convinced that he's quite this good anymore, but look, he could work out a good trip in here, and he's likely to be a good square number.
Mo Maverick might have been overmatched last time out in the Grade 3 Oceanport Stakes, but boy, Kendrick Carmouche gave him every chance to win. He put him on the front. They went 25-2, 49-4, and he had nothing left in the stretch. If I had to take a horse coming out of the Oceanport, it would be King Creesa's arch nemesis, Carafa, the number 10, a fellow millionaire that's been in the exacta 25-4 out of 49 starts and was completely stymied by the lack of pace in the Oceanport. We know on his very best day, Carafa can win a race like this.
Absolutely. I mean, again, he's the kind of horse from a speed figure standpoint. He has them all. He has all the numbers that you could possibly want. I do just wonder a little bit. I mean, we're at the point now where he hasn't won a race in since the end of 2016, and that was at Belmont Park. He's run well at Saratoga in the past, but he's never won here. I think that's something else you might want to factor in. Perhaps he's best used underneath. As far as the other horse is concerned, look, I look at Mo Maverick and think, if you couldn't get the job done in that most recent start with that sort of pace situation, how are you going to get it done here?
Carafa might be his best chance in a long time with a 180-degree different pace scenario from his most recent race at Monmouth. Rapt has benefited from solid paces in his last few races and still hasn't been able to get the job done. It's likely he's going to get another good setup, but Offering Plan outkicked him 2 back in the Kingston.
And really, that's kind of what it boiled down to for me. The 2 horses that I thought were going to get the best setup in here, had the best late kick, were Offering Plan and Rapt, and I just don't think Rapt is as talented, but he's going to be a giant price in here. I shouldn't say giant. He's going to be a very square price. Question is, I don't know that he's going to be able to overcome Offering Plan.
The JY's got the right running style. He's going to be a big price. I wonder if he's good enough. He earned a 92 Beyer speed figure last year as a 4-year-old. He's only raced twice on turf this year and really hasn't been embarrassed in each and every start. I wonder if he's the kind of horse at a gigantic price that can spice up your triples or supers.
Yeah, and like you say, from a running style standpoint, he could work out a good trip in this spot. I think it is something noteworthy. He's 0-for-3, and he's never even hit the board up at Saratoga.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the $150,000 West Point Stakes. You like Offering Plan. He is way the horse to beat, but I do want to talk about the 4, Tapitation, a horse that hasn't won since the 2016 Kingston Stakes, and it's really been because his career has just been derailed by injuries. It looked like in 2016 that he was going to ascend to the level of a King Creesa or a Carafa in the New York bred turf ranks. He was injured. He missed a year. He only raced twice in 2017. It looks like he's at least fit now. He started 4 times this year, and his most recent race, I think, indicates that he can still run. While he was never going to beat Black Type, a legitimate restricted Grade 3 type open horse, he tried real hard to finish second, and he's another horse that doesn't need to be on or close to the pace. I think he benefits from a hot pace. I'm going to give him one more chance, hoping that Ralph Nix gets him right at a price.
Yeah, I picked him 3rd in here. I agree with you. It's unfortunate. This is the kind of horse his career was derailed by injury, because he was a really nice New York bred for quite some time, and then he was gone for what felt like forever and a day, and it's taken a long time to get him back into this sort of form where he's at least mildly competitive. You brought up that most recent start. He's keeping good company. I'm not totally convinced he can run with a horse like Offering Plan at this point in his career, but I do think he can certainly get a piece of this. What should be a good number?
Give me numbers.
I'm going to go 6, 11, 4, and 1.
4-6 for me in the $150,000 West Point Stakes, race number 10 at the Spa on Friday. Bet it with a DRF Bets account. It's worth it. You get 10 times the bonus. Bet 20, get 200. DRF.com/bets where you need to go. An approximate post time for the West Point, 6:23 Eastern. Good luck.